Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of JDB's Kitchen served up the last dish of crocodile, resecuring the Southern Cutlass Keys. KOTT News caught up with a member of the Kitchen staff and asked them about the outcome and their ambitions. Congratulations on your victory here in Cutlass Keys, managing to return the taxidermist to the Keys. How do you feel about the fight tonight?
Oh, felt good, John. Felt good. Felt good to get off them rusty cobwebs and come out there and show out.
Indeed, indeed. Was there anybody out there who was outperforming themselves tonight?
I'd definitely say Devote. Devote was hitting them shot calls perfectly timed.
Excellent, we love that. Listen, I gotta ask you, a matter of civic responsibility, now that you have control of this region, are you gonna be able to get through the trade route embargoes that are placed between Monarch's Bluff and First Light by the Marauders?
I hope so, but definitely we will try. We'll definitely keep on pushing.
Keep on pushing, you say. Do you have ambitions for other regions on the island?
No, I think right now we're just gonna stay hidden, quiet, and keep cooking out here.
JDB's Kitchen would like to remind the members of the syndicate that they can now receive rations of lumber available daily. Earlier in Monarch's Bluff, KOTT were able to get a word from the Monarchs about their successful hold. Congratulations on your successful defense of the Bluff yet again, maintaining the monarchy. How do you feel it went out there, my friend?
Kind of interesting. They never sent a group to rotate the C point, so it was just a 50 versus 50 ego on B point.
Please.
I think they were leaning into their mercs a little more than they should have.
Was there anybody on your team who performed well tonight?
Yeah, I think Colonel Crackpot, he was repairing like a machine. He kept the back gates up most of that war. He put A gate up right as soon as they tore it down. Like, hats off to him. He really helped seal the pressure from the outside.
As the night wound down in Brightwood, KOTT News spoke with Dodgers leadership, who were preparing for next week's big storm. Congratulations on your victory here in Brightwood, fending them off yet again. They were able to get inside the gate. Would you care to take us through how it went down out there?
Yeah, John, a little crazy off the rip there. My main comms weren't working, so I was kind of panicking. Got it working. Should have held outside a little bit longer. My bad on those comms. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we ended up choke management. You know how it goes.
Yep, it'll win out every day. Hey, I see that you've already started clearing the forest behind us here. Do you have some type of large-scale production project in mind?
Yeah, John, that's just to make sure that these purples don't make it back. You know, we got to have a good sight line on the town, make sure they can't ambush us, you know, etc.
Back to the battle. Is there anybody out on the fight who you might want to highlight tonight?
Everybody soldiered up, John. Did great like usual. Rotations were on point. Lots of gamers in main comms. When they're called to be somewhere, they show up.
Well, one other matter of civic responsibility, the forward observation post of Morningdale has indicated a megastorm inbound in the early next week sometime. Are you prepared for what might be coming?
John, all this wood we're chopping down here, we're going to use it to fortify these walls and, you know, just keep the repairs up on the wall. It's going to be like OPR Wood Boss in Brightwood.
Turning to the weather for today, and once more the sun will continue its journey across the Eternum sky, keeping corruption at bay. But look out after sundown as the temperatures drop and give rise to a 20% chance of corruption invasion forces rising up across the island. 4 more submissions for simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Up first, the Marauders of Thrust Damage assail the Covenant forces of Error.pxp for control of the always contentious Restless Shore. With Thrust Damage taking on 2 offenses tonight, it is unknown if they will be fielding both teams themselves. Either way, this battle will be a difficult uphill one. Error.pxp stand atop the mud hill as the mist of the sea foam crashing on the eastern shores spray the battlefield beneath them, stoically prepared to hold their waypoint. Then, the Marauders of C-Tier Dodgers attack the Covenant forces of Outcasts for control of the arid desert region of Brimstone Sands. C-Tier Dodgers setting up for back-to-back engagements tonight with little time between, but they'll know early on how much effort they'll need to expend if they want to expend it. Outcast forces, without the luxury of a backup plan, must put all of their efforts into the defense of the dunes. There's no telling what will happen to the holy relics of this region should the Marauders succeed. Later, the syndicate members of Soju Gang assault the marauders of C-Tier Dodgers for control of First Light and the flow of the spice. Soju Gang, executing their right to rematch, immediately return to the spice and hyssop production facilities in their effort to resecure the island's spice flow. C-Tier Dodgers continue to maintain a stranglehold on the southern trade routes. Allowing the syndicate to secure such a tactical location is not something they can afford to do. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Thrust Damage challenge the members of Strawberry for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. Hailing from their most recent stint as Great House of the Eastern Restless Shore, these now meandering Marauders of Thrust Damage make an unexpected challenge of the heavyweight champs. Maybe the champs see something in this young contender, or maybe they consider it a light sparring session as they position themselves to make a run on the all-time Neverfall list. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night, as the forces of Soju Gang re-secure the spice and hyssop production facilities of First Light, and the Marauders of C-Tier Dodgers managed to capture the northern deserts of Brimstone Sands. KOTT News were able to secure an interview with a gang member immediately after their fight. Congratulations on your victory here in First Light, once again retaining the hyssop and spice production facility. How'd it go out there tonight? It was a long fight.
We're glad to have it back. It was definitely a battle. We went in kind of trying up some new things. We did a lot of discussing, after the last loss, and we, kind of took it hard, but we used it to bounce back, and we went in there. Things kind of started, they got a little, rough in the middle there. We took the gates within 5 minutes, but then we kind of had a lull period, and then we pushed, kind of got knocked back a little bit, pushed a second time, went in and got it.
Is there anybody whose efforts you'd really like to highlight tonight?
I would personally like to thank Taos for not being there. And for our shot callers, everyone, even the microcomms level, everyone was doing great at keeping everyone together, and this was a great time to watch everyone come together as a team.
A civic matter to discuss. The forward observation points of Morningdale, as you know, have reported an incoming storm early next week. Are you prepared to defend the hamlet from what might be coming?
We're still getting used to having a territory again, and so we plan on jumping on it as soon as possible. We're gonna get, the town built back up. We're gonna get some swarm walls prepared. We've got this. I believe in us.
KOTT News then caught up with the now C+ tier Dodgers to discuss their victory in Brimstone Sands. Congratulations on your victory here in Brimstone Sands, making your way through the deserts through the gate in record time. How do you feel it went out there tonight?
John, it was a great war out there tonight. Wong shot called us to victory like usual. Everybody soldiered up. Everybody did their job. All around great fight.
Excellent. Was there anybody who outperformed themselves tonight?
John, I really got to give it to Wong, man. He shot called us to victory. Everybody held down their gate, didn't push until it was called to, and, it just all worked out in the end.
Well, a matter of civic responsibility once again. Now that you're in charge of Brimstone Sands, you'll have to fortify against the oncoming storm early next week. Do you plan on bringing in lumber from Brightwood?
John, we will. The trade routes are a little cut off right now between Brightwood and Brimstone. We'll see if we can fix that, but that is the ultimate plan. We might have to sneak it through.
In other news, KOTT would like to remind its subscribers, and those of you who are about to be, that the forward observation post in Morningdale has indicated a rise in corruption activity from the north. Citizens should be prepared for an unexpected combat that will likely call for multiple allies to overcome. Looking at the weather for tonight, and the sun will enjoy a lazy cruise along the southern peninsula all afternoon long. Then be on the lookout after sunset when the island's corruption forces will rise up along the north-south pattern once more. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the syndicate members of Strawberry attack the Marauders of Context for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. Strawberry in the mood to exchange blows with their neighbor to the west. A victory tonight would secure the entire southern peninsula for the Syndicate. The Marauders of Context have been able to fend off Strawberry before, and they're confident that through diligent troop placement and choke management, they can do it again. Then, the Covenant forces of Error.pxp assault the Syndicate members of Pharmaceuticals for control of the island's primary oil reserves in Weaver's Fen. The Zealots of Error.pxp attempt to expand their empire beyond the island's coastline and into the interior, but has their Mudhill training prepared them for the Peat Moss Bog? Pharmaceutical reps have been hard at work refining the crude oil of the Fen into finer alchemical reagents and various crafted goods. They're not going to let all that hard work be snatched away. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night as the pharmaceutical reps maintained their hold on the island's spice flow. And the monarchs of the Western Bluff continue to hold on to their crown and kingdom. KOTT News caught up with Context leadership on the steps of City Hall to go over the outcome. Congratulations on your victory here in Monarch's Bluff, fending them off for about 25 minutes once you had choke management in place. How do you feel it went out there tonight?
It was a lot of fun. I appreciate them coming out and giving us a war. You know, we attacked them several times in a row. I hope they'll attack us several times in a row. That was a lot of fun.
C408 is a snake.
Oh, a lot of accusations against C408 the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think everybody will know it soon enough, is that C408 is on the hit list. If you see him in war, kill him.
The final horn had only just sounded for Pharmaceutical before Marauders began pressing influence in the region once again. KOTT was fortunate enough to get a quick word from the victors before they had to deal with this new annoyance. Now, before you need to respond to that, I'm sure they were just waiting for the results to be finalized. Congratulations on your victory here in Weaver's Fen, holding it down yet again. How do you feel it went out there?
John, it's always a fun war whenever we face Outcasts. It's always really good facing Kylum. Kylum usually puts together pretty good rosters. Really happy to hold them off and not even let them into the fort. We were a little confused. The roster was weaker for Outcasts than normal, to be honest, so we hope to see them at full strength next time.
Indeed. Of course, I always like to ask, was there anybody who outperformed themselves tonight?
Honestly, I want to say that Don Chadwick did a fantastic job out there today. I saw him absolutely holding down the point and doing everything I ask of him. And want to give a second shout out to our kill squads, both group 9 and 10. Absolutely soldiered out there.
And I want to give a shout out to all the babies, mamas.
All the babies, mamas? Yep. KOTT News would like to remind its subscribers, and those of you who are about to be, that the projected storm is upon us. Citizens should move together in groups when possible, and be wary of 2 large creatures ransacking the island. Turning to the weather today, and once more the sun will make its journey across the Eternum sky, keeping corruption at bay. Then look out after sunset as temperatures drop and those corruption forces come out to invade 40% of the island. 3 lineups submitted for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Covenant forces of Error.pxp assault the vault of JDB's kitchen for control of the island's financial capital of Windsward. Error.pxp make a move to expand their empire and secure the funding necessary to grow even more. But will they be able to overcome vault security? JDB's kitchen facing a tough decision tonight with 2 fights ongoing simultaneously, but will they prioritize finances over expansion? Meanwhile, the Syndicate forces of JDB's kitchen assail the Covenant forces of Outcasts for control of the master fishing port town of Reekwater. The kitchen staff of JDB seek to expand their empire by securing the freshest seafood ingredients available on the island. But will this fight have their full attention? Outcast forces able to dedicate their forces entirely to this fight. They've gone over the VODs of their last skirmish with JDB, and they're confident in their defensive strategy. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Iron Reavers attack the Syndicate members of Globo Gym for control of the forward observation post of Morningdale. Iron Reavers march up into the highlands of Morningdale, anxious to regain the status of Great House. But in their rush, did they properly prepare to avoid altitude sickness? The Syndicate Serpents of Globo Gem have been improving their roster to prepare for the challenges of the island. Now, they have Blaze, they have Laser, and they have Blazer. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of JDB's Kitchen capture the master fishing port town of Reekwater. Wasting no time, the master chefs of JDB dispersed to collect only the finest ingredients for their private party. But while company members were invited to the victory celebration, all faction members are welcome to free appetizers daily. Later in the evening, KOTT News were able to catch up to Globo Gym leadership, soaking in the hot tub. Congratulations on your victory here in Morningdale, successfully fending it off yet again. Would you care to take us through how it went down for you out there tonight?
Oh man, it was pretty good. It was a real team victory. We all got out there to be. Had a nice little skirmish out there, and it was pretty dominant on our side, I'd have to say.
Oh, pretty dominant. Were they able to get inside the fort at all?
Yeah, they made a good effort to try and get in. They got all the points outside, but we were able to hold them off.
Well, is there anybody out there whose performance really outshined tonight?
I'm gonna have to go with myself there. I haven't played in quite some time, and I came out there and really put on a good effort. First word, the great sword. So shout out to the team though for setting me up.
Last night's blackout signaled the true start of the corruption mega invasion. Expected to last 2 weeks, citizens are encouraged to have fun and be excellent to each other. Turning to the weather, and once again it's sun up, sun over, sun down for a peaceful morning into afternoon. Then look out in the evening as the humidity drops and a mist of invasion forces rise up across 20% of the island. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it is cardboard. Tonight, the Covenant forces of Outcasts attack the Marauders of C+ tier Dodgers for control of the bear-infested deep forest of Brightwood. The Zealots of Outcast have abandoned all other territories in order to focus their entire attention in the northern woods, because someone has to finish the church, and it ain't gonna be the Dodgers. They have found only one useful purpose for the incomplete structure, by hanging their banner from its scaffolding to flaunt its unfinished state. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the Covenant forces of Outcast beat the Bears in Brightwood, claiming the region in the name of the Spark. KOTT News were on the scene in the deep forests and got a word from the new mayors. So, hey, were you out in that conflict tonight? Care to take us through how it went down for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely, John. Just like how we always do on attacks, we're thorough and we always like to hand the enemy team that L. That's why we represent that as our emblem for our company.
Let everybody know that an L is coming whenever your banner comes up over the horizon, correct?
That's right, John.
Well, I see you have another one right away tomorrow as well. How do you feel about that one?
Yep. Just wanted to say, I think Panda is going to be our #1 leader for that one. No doubt.
Was Panda out here tonight?
I think he was, yeah. And again, #1, so what can I say?
Do you have any intentions to possibly improve the church that's been incomplete since the last big megastorm?
Oh, yeah. Actually, we're going to use all the revenue that we just gained off of obtaining this territory to make sure that this church gets finished. Nobody is responsible enough to take care of it. We're going to make sure that's our #1 priority, John.
Quickly to the weather, and it's going to be another beautiful day all afternoon long. But look out after sundown, as a 30% chance of corruption invasion will pop up around the island's coastlines. For more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, The Marauders of Iron Reavers assail the Covenant forces of Error.pxp for control of the always contentious Restless Shore. The back and forth between these two companies about to get underway yet again. This time, the Reavers are looking up the hill, getting the salty sea mist in their eyes. Atop the mud hill, the forces of Error.pxp, standing on their waypoint, awaiting the arrival of the offense. They know the enemy well, and won't take them lightly. Then, the Covenant forces of Outcasts attack the Syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for control of the secondary oil reserves of Cutlass Keys. Fresh off their victory in Brightwood last night, as reported earlier in this broadcast, the Zealots of Outcasts invoke their right to rematch, returning to the Southern Keys. The Kitchen staff of JDB have looked over the VODs from their last victory over the Zealots, and feel confident in their ability to retain that which they have united. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Thrust Damage assault the Syndicate members of Soju Gang for control of First Light and the flow of the spice. Thrust Damage making their second attempt to take the region of First Light from the reigning Spice Lords of Soju Gang, but will they fare better this time? Soju Gang's preparations for the beast which descended from the north last night had them amped up for some action, and now that they've warmed up, they're ready to hold. Later, the Marauders of C+ tier Dodgers challenge the champs of Strawberry for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. Dodgers forces bringing their full contingent of pugilists, hoping to play the spoiler, seeking to dethrone the champs and begin their own Neverfall attempt. A win tonight moves Strawberry into a tie for second place on the all-time Neverfall list, joining the familiar forces of Dropouts and Syndicate legacy powerhouse, Elysian. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as all 5 forces managed to maintain their holds over their respective regions. KOTT News were on the scene all night long, starting in Restless Shore, where we spoke with Error leadership after their victory. Congratulations on your victory here in the Restless Shore, once again holding them off. This grudge match starting to develop. How did it go for you guys?
It was pretty good. They actually took all 3 points, put us to the fort phase. I don't think it was really close, to be honest, for us. They never got any presence inside the fort. We had really good choke management. In fact, I think the outside the fort giving up those points, I think we just kind of made a minor mistake and gave them a free B point, which ended up leading to them getting in. But yeah, overall it went pretty well for us.
Excellent. Looking forward to continue holding it down, I'm sure. Was there anyone out there who really outperformed themselves tonight?
I think a lot of our people did. Our roster is getting stronger each time we war. And Curcio is only guy who passed me an assist, so got to give a shout out to him.
Later, KOTT News were able to speak with JDB's kitchen staff about their unusual experience. You're looking good out there tonight, able to maintain the fort yet again for a full 30 minutes. Would you care to take us through how it went down for you?
Yeah, I mean, these guys were hiding in war camp. Okay, so we'll give you a little bit of lore. These guys paid all their treasury money for one player. They paid about 2.2 mil gold for one player when they could have invested in their own players. And now their own players are leaving them. And they sat in war camp until 6 minutes left. So I don't know what these guys are doing. Everyone wanted a good war, but I guess they don't want it.
Oh, some last-minute discrepancies in the payout scheme for any mercenaries, and they've refused to fight. Interesting. That's might be the first time I've seen that happen like that.
Yeah, me too. I played since release, and I've never seen anybody sit in war camp. They used 2.2 mil on one player, made him sit in war camp, and now everyone lost out on payouts. I don't know what they're doing.
I can tell you sometimes general management will go for that key individual to get them over the hump, but if they're not even going to try to climb up the hill, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. Look at these. Yeah, I think these guys are looking for a new company. That's why they're here. But, you know, it is what it is, John.
Well, it looks like you might be busy recruiting some new members into the syndicate forces of JDB's Kitchen. But before I let you go, Is there anybody whose efforts out there kind of stood out?
Yeah, shout out Captain Rogers. Who else? Rasputin, he also shot called. Always appreciating him. JDB always organizing the roster. A Thick Boy too. Make sure you Twitch TTV Thick Boy. Really, he's probably the best musket on the game.
KOTT News crews then raced to First Light to speak with the Spice Lords about their victory. Congratulations on your victory here in First Light, once again retaining the rights to the spice and hyssop production of the island. How do you feel it went out there tonight?
Oh man, this was such a fun war. I'm not gonna lie, it felt pretty good.
Excellent. Were they able to get inside the gates at all?
Yeah, they were, but I do have to give a shout out to my boy Woodquib because he was Bob the Builder. He got Seagate up a couple times. Or he got it up once and I think almost got it up a second time. But also, my boy came in clutch with the wind chill tech tonight.
Here to take us through this, give us a scoop on the wind chill tech.
Oh yeah, see this man was setting up kills for our bruisers, bro. He would wind chill push them right into the clumps.
No press pass available in Brimstone, but KOTT News were able to speak with Dodgers leadership about the outcome. How do you feel it went out there, my friend?
John, it was pretty sandy out there, not going to lie. We got sand everywhere. Other than the sand, it was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, well, be sure to hit the bathhouses. I understand the Brimstone's Association of Tourism and Hospitality is giving away free baths to participants in the war tonight, so make sure you get over there and do that. Was there anybody who stood out in their performance tonight out there in the desert?
John, like always, our fearless leader and governor, Wong, leading us to victory yet again.
Their 10th straight hold puts the champs in a three-way tie for second on the all-time never fall list. 3 away from first place, currently held by Regime with 13. Turning to the weather, and the sun looks like it will swing in from the north following the Cyclopean incursions into the island. Then be on the lookout for substantial corruption forces arising at night when a 30% chance of invasion across the land will occur. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Marauders of C+ tier Dodgers assault the syndicate members of Pharmaceuticals for control of the primary oil reserves of Weaver's Fin. C+ tier Dodgers have been fighting every day this week and may be starting to feel the fatigue of non-stop combat. But they've made it clear that they're giving their all for the Fin. The pharmaceutical reps of the Peat Moss Bog continue to improve their alchemical skills, utilizing their vast oil supplies. They'll be popping cleanses and activating themselves in order to remain in command. Then, the Covenant forces of Daddy Chill assail the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for control of the master fishing port town of Reekwater. Former Great House, Daddy Chill, returned to the scene in their attempt to re-secure standing as regional leaders. But what ambitions do they have for the citizens of Reekwater? The kitchen staff of JDB have been preparing the finest dishes available from the finest ingredients on the island. They've accepted this challenge, but declare the rules of a Shokugeki. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Good evening, Eternum. War Correspondent JChalant here on the scene in Monarch's Bluff, where the syndicate members of Strawberries will be attacking the Marauders of Context, currently out of context, presumably in the middle of this battlefield. The first rule of War Correspondence is don't die, stay alive. So we have got our helmet on first and foremostly. And now we're going to go outside and peek. The second rule of War Correspondence is that we have to give you a fair and honest effort to bring you the news. And it looks like Bravo Point is completely under control by the syndicate members of Strawberry as they stand around on the point wanting for nothing. It looks like they're also capturing the C point on the far side with little to no skirmish. And it also appears maybe there's a little pushback on the other point, the other objective off to the... Nope, on coast side it looks like that one's about to go down as well as we approach the dusk here, as the sun sets on the western Monarch's Bluff. As these two great forces fight for crown and kingdom of the monarchy. However, the forces of context... Let me get out of the light for you, ladies and gentlemen. The forces of context appear to be out to lunch. Maybe that's why they were out of context. The forces of Strawberry already taking out the hot oil over the doors of the fort. I see no one in the fort itself. There's no one up on the high ground. This may be a full and complete yield. Oh, the cannon comes out, the side cannon. Oh, I like those runes. I am going to wait for that to possibly breach before going in. Ladies and gentlemen, war correspondent JChalant here on the scene in Monarch's Bluff, where the syndicate members of Strawberry are clearly capturing this fort in record time. Brought to you by LARPco. Hey, another victory for JC. Look at that, I didn't come in 100th place. KOTT News would like to alert its subscribers and those who are about to be that we will be uploading several longer form compilation videos over the next few days. You may want to turn off any bell notifications so as to not be disturbed for the time being. Turning to the weather, and even though the sun will shine all afternoon, the Cyclopean Brothers will be available all day long. But after sunset, the corruption forces will really come out, rising up across 40% of the island. 2 lineup submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. First up, the Syndicate forces of Strawberry assault the Marauders of Out of Context for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. Strawberry forces, coming off their heavyweight fight 2 nights ago, should be refreshed and ready to go as they attempt to expand their empire. Out of context, it's difficult to understand what may be happening tonight on the Western Bluff. But if context forces are out, then who will be in at the end? Later, the Marauders of C+ tier Dodgers attack the Syndicate members of Globo Gym for control of the Northern Observation Post in Morningdale. Another night, another fight for C+ tier Dodgers, who continue to test their mettle against the other great houses of the island. But can they dodge a Cyclops? Globo Gym's highly trained quasi-cultural staff of personal alteration specialists will teach you the 5 Ds. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.